Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and for those who wonder how I stay safe on the deep web, this is your video. I get this question asked a whole lot from you people, and it's a question that has a big level of validity to it. A lot of you people wonder how I stay safe on the dark web, the dank web, the deep web, Druid's Sandstorm, and I'll tell you exactly how it happens over here. Now, this video is going to be done in a step sort of guide, basically a checklist of precautions you should have. If you miss a couple, that's entirely on your risk, but here's how I personally do it. Now, I know I made a video on this kind of before we take down, but I never covered the entire topic of computer security when you're browsing such a awesome web. But here's how it works. Now, number one, it comes with a given that I use a VM. Now, there's a lot of people who on the channel say, Mudahar, why do you use VMs? There's programs that allow you to do VM-like abilities, and there are, and they work amazing. There's programs such as Sandboxy. But the reason Mudahar uses virtual machines is because they completely isolate. And by the way, here's a little disclaimer. These tips will not guarantee you 100% safety. It won't. Alright? You'll get 99.9%, I'll give you that, but you won't ever get 100%. But back onto the topic. The reason why I use VMs is because, again, it keeps isolation as much as possible. Now, there are ways for viruses to get through VMs. This is how they do it. You know how in VMs they do connect to the internet? How they connect to the internet is by using your internet relay. So, if a virus is clever enough, they'll use the VM's internet relay, manipulate it, and work around it to get into your internet relay, your actual bridge, and hack your computer that way. Now, if you disconnect the network bridge, the VMs can't do that. Now, there are other ways VMs can do it, and I'll get into it in a second right over here. The VM software I use, and by no means is a company or advertiser or anything like that, is VMware. Now, there are other solutions out there, VirtualBox from Oracle. There's a lot of VM software out there. There is. But, well, actually not a whole lot of option because it's a pretty non-competitive market. But regardless, there's plenty of VM packages out. And VMware is by no means the best, but it's the one that I personally use and the one I personally prefer. When I worked cybersecurity, when I worked in that field, I used VMware primarily because that was something that I was used to, and it's something that I personally will always back because it works very flawlessly. You know, at least for me. Now, you can use whatever you want, that's entirely up to you, but use a virtual machine software. Now, one of the things with virtual machine software is if you're using VMware, and if you're using stuff like VirtualBox, they typically come with extra tools that allow you to interface with your virtual machine better, meaning you can like drag and drop files into it. You may notice in videos, I really don't do that, especially on live streams if you're about there. That's because those are, as good as those bridges are, they basically increase the chances of you getting hacked the other way. Alright, so be really careful. Just keep your VM as plain and simple as possible and you make sure it's there. Now, because we're going on the deep web, we don't really have a choice with the network bridge, right? We have to keep it. So at this point, you're going to have to be really, really, again, keep that carefulness up because you don't want to download any virus that can breach it. Now, number two, and this helps, in your VM, you want to make sure you download one good antivirus package. And when I say one good, I really mean one good. I don't want to be that guy, but trust me, I came to a lot of realizations in the field that I worked in before I ever video edited. There was a lot of people who thought if I download 2 virtual machine softwares, I'm good. Now, don't be that kid in sex ed where you wonder, if I have 2 condoms, I'll be more protected if I, would just have 1. No. It doesn't work like that, okay? Antivirus softwares will just cancel each other out. Well, not cancel, but they'll conflict with each other, which means it's going to really be counterproductive for what you installed it for. So pick one good one. There's plenty of free ones out there. Don't go out and buy an antivirus package. There are great free ones out there. AVG, Antivir, Bitdefender, actually, that's a free option. I use Panda Security. Don't go out and buy one. Don't do that. All right, don't fall for the Norton thing. Get it if you want to, though. It's entirely up to you. But that's step number 2. Now, once you have an antivirus in a VM, you think you're probably reasonably safe. And guess what? You are. You're pretty safe against most viruses. You got a great antivirus package, and for the most part, your computer's isolated, which means if that VM ever gets completely compromised, you can completely wipe it clean, reinstall Windows, and start away from scratch within minutes. So, thumbs up on that regard. Now, general practices on browsing the deep web, all right? And I'm going to be really careful with you over here. Now, the deep web browser, such as Tor, you may notice, actually warns you from maximizing your browser. Now, there's reasons why it does this. A, if you maximize the browser, the people who run the site can run a little check and see what resolution you're running at. So they'll figure out the resolution of your monitor. Now, most people, it'll probably be 1080p, and that's really it. There's nothing much you could say. That's all there is to it. But one thing that they could do is they could actually do what we call a pixel beacon. And what that is, and I'll keep it as layman's as possible, is the programmer for the website can actually put 1 pixel transparent images that if your computer is looking at it, rendering it, then what it'll do is it'll basically, it basically compromises your system and leaves you naked in front of them, meaning they can pull out information. Now, there's severity on how much they can do it, but regardless, you're naked in front of them. So there's many things, many reasons why you shouldn't do that. I choose to keep it maximized because if it's a VM, then they're not pulling too much information out of me anyways. It's just random stuff. Just put your name on Windows as Mike Hawk, and that's what they'll be fucking getting. And as you move on, there's one principle here too. Please don't download files off the deep web. You can if you want to. Like I said, all of this is on your own risk, but like Sad Satan, there are a lot of nasty viruses that are embedded within harmless-looking programs. And programs such as these, if you thought, Sad Satan was bad, let me tell you right now, there's a billion child porn, drug, botnet rings that are out there that use your computers to transfer files. So just be really careful on what you're downloading. Don't download it if it looks sketchy, and if you're running it in a VM, be really, really careful. In fact, before you run it in a VM, just completely kill off the internet, run it, and then wipe that VM clean. Don't let that thing go through. Don't execute it while it's running on the internet at any cost. You want to be super, super careful, all right? Because these viruses, once they gain access into your, low-level files, that system is completely compromised. When I played Sad Satan, I completely wiped out my hard drives, meaning I zeroed them out, wiped them clean, the old Department of Defense way, reinstalled my OS, and that was it. That's why you see me running Windows 10. That's what I had to do. Just be really, really careful on this stuff, guys. I'm not even saying this to, scare you, because I like when the Some Ordinary Gamers browse the deep web. I like knowledge, I like it. Knowledge is power, but there are unfortunately a couple people in our family that have been subjected to some pretty nasty looking viruses, and unfortunately, I apologize, for any of that. You shouldn't have to go through viruses and stuff. But I hope this video can help you, because it's designed to make you a little more safe here, and I hope it's educated you too. As far as I am a gamer, I'm also a, computer expert on stuff, so I hope this video can help you, and it may sound really basic, what I'm telling you, like, the basic stuff that IT people tell you, but it works. So please, take caution, and explore the deep web. Splunk on it all you want. In fact, I got a little update for you. I actually managed to get some hacked Pokemon ROMs from the deep web. I don't know what the heck's inside them, and I'm going to go check them out. Probably nothing, but you got a little investigations video coming up. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.